Okay, here we have a 2012 Ford F150 with 174,000 miles on it. Customer concern, transmission or rear end concerns. Customer states the vehicle feels like it's slipping at highway speeds. So I'm gonna go test drive it, but code scan. Generator filled, terminal circuit low, not current, output shaft speed sensor circuit not current, and output shaft speed sensor no signal. Okay, and the same three in the transmission, airbags, anti-theft, steering column, tire pressure, body control module, instrument panel. Everything's not current. See, transfer case, contact plate general circuit failure, P1867. Too far away from my Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm gonna go take it down the highway and see if I can tell what they're talking about. I haven't felt anything weird about it yet, but the speedometer is not working. Hopefully I can get it to at least show me some symptoms of whatever the guy is feeling. Now it's not kicking down. I got it on the floor right now, and it did not kick down. Just getting ready to pull it back up to the shop. Another thing I noticed is when you're coming up to a stop, it only goes down to third. It's not going down to first gear, and you give it gas to take off, and you can tell it's in a higher gear. Okay, I just pulled back in the shop, and these two output shaft speed sensor circuit and no signal have become current. So that's definitely what we're going after, but I still want to talk to the customer and just confirm that that's what's going on. It's just no actual slipping, just kind of lack of power, in the wrong gear, not downshifting, stuff like that. Okay, so on this one we're going to put in a new bulkhead sleeve. There's a part number and a new gasket that goes between the valve body and the transmission. A new transmission filter. And a new lead frame. And of course they got me Dorman on the lead frame. So I'm just going to pull down the valve body. And install this baby in there.
Hey Joe,
Yeah.
look at this for me.
Okay.
I thought I could go ahead and get it down.
Okay, first I'm going to take out my dipstick. That's a 19 millimeter. Get that out of the way so we don't break that little stick off there. Then we want to unhook our bulkhead connector. The wires going into the transmission. And just push up on that and unplug it. Now we need to pull our bulkhead connector out of the transmission. So you just push in on this little white tab here, pull down on that, and that unlocks the bulkhead connector from the lead frame and the valve body. I might have to get a screwdriver or something to assist me in pulling that out. Okay. Got that pulled out. Okay, now we're going to pull the valve body down, and I've got a T30 here, and the ones you need to pull out are T30s. The head's a little bigger, and you can see it don't fit in the other ones. So I think there's 11. And you want to be very careful when you pull the valve body down. There's going to be some things that are going to want to fall out. Don't let any of them hit the ground. Just be real careful. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you got 3 back here on the lead frame. It says 8, 9, 10. So I've got one more up here somewhere. Right there, maybe. Nope. Get my glasses on here. I'm not seeing it. I think that's it right there. Yep, okay, so I got that one, and I got the 3. I'm gonna go get a extension. So I've got 3 back here on the lead frame. And they are short ones. Right, and then I got that one left up here. Okay, this should be the last one. Okay. So that's 8 long bolts in the valve body itself and 3 short ones in the lead frame. All right, so we want to be very careful here. This here is the gasket that I showed earlier to replace. Okay, now we have our valve body over here on the bench. We want to remove our lead frame from the valve body itself. You got 6 bolts. They are T27s. Got 2 here. You got two here, and you got two here. And they are all the same size. Sorry about that. Now we'll flip our valve body over. And pull the lead frame up off. Just wiggle it back and forth. Just gently work it back and forth, because you want to evenly pull the lead frame connectors out of the solenoids, and be sure not to touch or mess with your solenoids. You can just wipe it down a little bit, get some of the old fluid off there. Not really a big deal, but make sure your foam is up in there good on that. Okay, now we're going to put our lead frame back on there, onto the valve body. This little nub right there sticking up, range sensor, goes right here in this valve. So you got to make sure you get that lined up, and make sure you get all of your solenoids plugged in good. What's up, brother?
Man, I didn't plug my shit in.
All right. One of the blue ones. Yeah, the blue one should be. Just grab the one that's plugged in and then plug the other one in. That's what I always do.
Started yesterday with jump box on like 25%.
All right, so you got your dial pins that line up where it goes. So just kind of make sure it all goes down evenly. Move your range sensor to where it goes down into the manual valve there. Make sure all of your solenoids plug in evenly. Right there. See that? That's where that goes. That little nub goes in there. Make sure it's all seated on there evenly. Once you're sure it looks good there, you can put your 6 bolts back in. Sorry about that. Your T27s. And I believe these torque down to 53 inch-pounds.
once you got that torqued down.
Now we should be double check, make sure your nub is in there where it goes. Make sure everything looks good and even. Everything the solenoids all look like they're plugged in good. Now we're ready to put the valve body back up in the vehicle. Very important not to forget your thermal expansion valve. And here's the new seal that we bought. That will go up in there. And we have our filter and our bulkhead connector, because they are prone to leaking. Okay, now we're ready to put our valve body up in there. So things to pay attention to is make sure all 4 of your transfer tubes are up in there. And then we're going to put our new gasket or seal for the front pump area up in there. And then our expansion valve goes right up in here. And we're just going to put some transmission lube assembly, little blue stuff around it. Dry it off real good first, because this will try to fall back out on you. So it's probably the hardest part of it, is to get that to stay up in there. But if you got this lube, just put some lube on the valve. Stick that up in there. And then just put a little bit around it here to kind of hold it in place. Okay, got our 4 seals up in there, our expansion valve in there, our new seal gasket there up in there. Now you just want to make sure when you put the valve body up in there, your transmission range sensor lines up with this here. Of course, I haven't let this thing properly drain, so I'm getting dripped on. Okay, we've got our bolts in, and I'm just going to run these down a little snug and then torque them all in sequence to 71 inch-pounds. And torque in this sequence to 71 inch-pounds. That's the manual valve where the range sensor and the shaft coming through the side is lined up right there. Now we're ready to put our bulkhead sleeve connector back in, our transmission filter and put our pan back up. Okay, now I'm going to put my bulkhead sleeve in. It has this little tit right there. So I'm just going to put it up in there and turn it until I feel it go into place. And when it does go into place, this will push right up once it goes in there all the way. So just turn it until you feel where you can go in, and then that'll slide right up. And make sure you lube it up real good. Lube up the O-rings real good. Okay, so that's in place. Now we're just going to put our filter up on there. Like so. Now we're ready to put our transmission pan up. Okay, we got our filter in. Make sure you plug your electrical connector into your bulkhead there. Wipe down your transmission pan sealing surface. Slide your pan up on there, get a few bolts started. Once you got a couple of them in there, you can let the pan hang and get all the rest of your bolts in there and your pan tightened down. Okay, I'm just going back over my pan bolts one more time to make sure I got them all tight where I want them. Now we'll give it a little brake clean bath. Then we just need to get it filled up with fluid. Take it on a test drive. Now over here where we pulled our little dipstick out, that's where we're going to pump the fluid in. Okay, I'm filling it back up with fluid. Identifix said 3.5 quarts on a service, so like dropping the pan and filter, but I had the valve body down, so I'm going to throw like 4.5 quarts in it. I can always just suck it right back out with this evacuator here if it's over full a little bit. So we're going to get this pumped in there, and then we'll fire it up and see where our fluid level is. Go for a test drive. Okay, so I started it up. I put like 5 quarts in it. I started it up and ran it through the gears. Now it's not showing on the stick anymore, so I'm putting one more quart in it, and we'll check it again. Okay, I've got the 6th quart in there. still nothing. So now I'm gonna add another quart. Okay, now I'm checking it with 7 quarts. I'm gonna add one more quart, check it again. That'll be 8 quarts. Okay, now I'm checking it with 8 quarts. So I'm gonna do another quart. So this will be 9 quarts. Okay, checking it at 9 quarts. Right at the top of the hatch lines. So now I'm gonna let it down, run it through the gears again. Make sure it stays at that level. So with the temperature between 193 and 215 Fahrenheit, the fluid level should show at the upper level of the dotted line. All right, I'm going on a test drive here. First thing I notice, well, is the speedometer's working, and it's already shifted into 3rd gear. And the reason I changed this on this truck was because of the vehicle speed sensor code, which is built into that lead frame. So, but as you can tell, that's working because the speedometer is working. It's shifting through the gears good. I'm gonna take it out on the interstate, but you got no codes present in the transmission, so let's say we're good to go. All right, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day.